It's Aragami 2! Oh, yeah, I should probably take care of that. Yeah, it's fine. You do your thing. Aragami 2! Yes, we're continuing our apparent trend of playing video games that are sequels of games that I've already played that came out, like, this past week, because apparently this is just crazy week for me and all of the games that are coming out reminding me of other games. Aragami was an awesome stealth game that I really enjoyed. Came out a few years ago. I hold it up as one of my all-time favorite stealth games, period. Which, you know, stealth is a really hard kind of subgenre to figure out. Like, there's so many moving parts, and doing it right is so tricky. But I especially liked Aragami because it was fast-paced, lots of cool movement options. Which is a tricky thing to master for a stealth game, because otherwise you end up like doing a whole lot of waiting a lot of the time, which is a bit of a bummer, or a whole lot of dying, because, you know, patience and stuff. But I like the aesthetic, I like the gameplay. I'm hoping that the sequel will live up to the high standards of the original. Shh, they're telling the story now. Okay, so great forces. That's cool. Very abstract. Okay. Bleak. Oh no, curses! Ooh. Very awkward. Well, that was simultaneously very evocative and not very actually informative. And I don't think it had anything to do with the first game. Like, I know that there is the sort of curse and magic darkness thing going on in the lore of the first game, so much as it was. But honestly, I don't remember the first game all that well. Maybe I should not be quite so excited about this. Could be very awkward if it turns out that I was just, you know, had my nostalgia glasses on the whole time. Yeah, this does not seem like a very good place to be. But we are already in game. Yay! Reach the area. That's very descriptive. Alright, we have a jump. We have a double jump. Look at that jumping. That's some very impressive jumping. Also, notice how the camera, like, kicks back when you jump? It's an interesting choice. Teleporting! Whoop! Always a good time. Like I said, movement controls. That's why I think, like, this and Dishonored are probably my favorite stealth games these days. The teleportation move is just so useful and so helpful in stealth games. You'll also notice, like, this is classic from the original Aragami as well, that, like, you get highlighted when you're in shadow and therefore are invisible. What's this all about, huh? I guess I can't read it, though. I can apparently press myself against things. Can I crouch? Yep. And I'm invisible. Very cool. Okay. So we've got shift to dash and shift to sprint after performing a dash. Alright, very good. They also consume stamina. Alright, finally, stealth mechanics! Woo! We've proceeded in the tutorial to the stealth mechanic part. Also, did you notice that they made me hold the button on that one? That was interesting. They haven't done that up until now. It's a cute way of making sure that you've read the thing and aren't just, like, blowing through the tutorial options. Nice design there. Ooh! We have target lock. Okay. But, you know, this is a stealth game. I don't need to kill people. As I recall, there were even awards in the first game for not killing people. I guess I can't teleport up there. You know, they tell me I can teleport places, and then they take it away. Alright, well this is not good. I think I'm also just kind of allergic to light. Like, it is... Yeah, we cannot teleport that far. There we go. Well, hold on. This looks important and stuff. Apparently nothing here that I can, like, take or interact with. Alright, up we go. And here. Or not? Okay, there we go. Well, we have successfully made it up this high. Where do I want to be? The marker says I want to be over there by all those plants. I've gotten a very roundabout way of going. Alright, that's fine. I'm going to reach the area command. Not helpful as language goes. Nobody sees me. Whoop. Shadow vision lets you see enemies and other interactive elements with V. Another hold the button thing. Okay, so we've got dudes over there. Apparently a whole lot of light over here. Is that why we're getting the weird glowing thing? Or not? Something up with the tree. That's apparently giving us the mist thing. There we go. I also like how it retains your crouch even after you jump. Like, that's so small and so nice. It's one of the things that I remember about the original Aragami is that it didn't do anything too terribly flashy, but it did everything that it was doing so right. Retrieve my weapon? Guess they're gonna let me kill people now. Support items, mouse wheel. Okay. I can use vitality potions to restore vitality. So that. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, there we go. Well, that guy is awkwardly positioned. I imagine they'll want me to kill him. Oh, so we have a lethal and a non-lethal option that are apparently, like, identical, sort of. Knock you out. You do get the option to kill him afterwards, though. I think he actually, like, gets... Or in the first game, I think they would actually, like, get back up. If you just, you know, left them alone for too long. So there is, in fact, an advantage to killing them. Or maybe I'm just wrong. I do actually have mouse control there. That was weird. Uh-oh. Combat is inevitable. Strategic retreat when the gods are not in your favor. Okay, so we can practice combat without having to worry about taking damage, apparently. Attack 3 times. Okay. Those 3 times, right? Okay. Blocking! Block 3 times. Oop. Sorry. Apparently holding the mouse button down is a fancy advanced slash something. Well, you've got to attack me in order for my block to work. Hey! Attack me! Do it! There we go. Haha! Ow! Okay, so we can parry in classic Dark Souls style. And now we're going to have to do that 3 times. Oh! What up? No, that didn't work. There we go. Oh, parry, parry, parry. Alright, and then shift, dash, and evade. Okay. Whoa! How do you like me now? Your opponent's stamina depletes, you'll be able to perform a critical attack, inflicting huge damage, and then combat execution if they are at low health. Oh, I can take damage now. Okay, awesome. Thanks for letting me know. That was exciting. Well, so much for the non-lethal approach. I didn't even see the screen. I don't know about you. Like, I saw it. It was like, there's going to be a decision, but I was already clicking, and apparently that registered, which is a bit of a bummer. I think that was the sound. Huh. Interesting. Meanwhile, I am at low health again. Assassinations and knockouts can be performed from above, Assassin's Creed style. Alright, so he's apparently hearing me, I guess. Not sure if that's exactly what we were supposed to do, but it worked. I like how he just chucks him places. Fairly casually and callously. It's an axe! Do I get it? Do I get the axe? I guess not. It's fine. I didn't want it anyway. And I'll just chuck you in the weeds over here. Alright. I apparently missed. That's fine. We'll do it again. There. Aha! It still makes that little black poofy thing. Alright, we can apparently use walls to do special knockouts and stuff. Also good. Lean, lean, lean. And... whoop! Uh-oh. Nope, nobody here. Your friends have all lied to you. There is no one here. Yes, I left that body there. Please pay no attention to it. Oh, okay, that's the deal. They'll wake each other up. I assume. Are you waking up? No? Did you just discover the same... Yep, he's waking the other guy up. Rude! I work so hard to knock these people out, and they just totally undo all my hard work. Uh-oh. This is awkward. Nope, nobody in here. Really? He even went down? Oh! Way ahead of you. You get to get thrown into the bushes with your friend. Now you get to do this part again. I like how he just immediately resumed his position. But now your friend isn't here to help you. Ha ha ha. Alright. I know that I'm kind of going for the non-lethal run, but I can't help myself. I just really want to, like, fling one of these guys off a cliff. The, like, inner 90s kid is just so excited about this. See ya! Yeah, into the drink. Hooray, basic physics engines. Cannon? Do I get to play with the cannon? I assume not. Sorry, poor inner 90s kid. Yep, and now the testing nonsense. Alright, so just get to the other side. Alright, so we got a dude there. And one there. Okay, we got a dude there, and the guy who's in the bushes here. Let's wait for him to turn around. And we'll take care of this dude. Nice of us to put him in the weeds so we don't have to worry about that. Then this guy gets to wonder about where his pal went. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna ignore him and move right along. He does seem to be kind of in the way, though. Don't mind me. And we'll just take you and dispose of that particularly incriminating element. Alright, so we got that guy. We're just going to ignore him and hope that that doesn't become a problem later. Alright, we got another dude there. He is sufficiently far away that I don't think it will be a problem if I just avoid him. And peace out. Made it through that whole area anyway. Hooray! Still got it! Oh, also some dead people. Seem to be a lot of dead people. A lot of dead people. I apologize, the first hour is not usually this violent. Good grief. Good grief! I mean, I guess. Hooray, Emperor Akai forever, I guess? Because they seem like, you know, perfectly upstanding individuals. Beings? Who are you calling beings? Did somebody lose a friend? Almost like some ninja just showed up and disappeared him. Guess you guys shouldn't have incriminating conversations about how you support evil when there are ninjas hanging around. Rude. I didn't decide to kill that guy. What if I was going for a pacifist run? Oh, snap! I'm not fighting, FYI. Oh! Hey! Not cool. These do not seem like nice people. You can tell because they stabbed me. In a cutscene when I couldn't fight back! Maybe these are the creepy dudes that that soldier was referring to? I like how they're just having this conversation while I'm kind of just standing there being impaled. And yet we're not actually, like, able to do anything about it. I would like to vote no on the killing me oh! Never mind then. Yep. Definitely not this violent normally here on the first hour. Next thing you know, I'll be playing freaking Silent Hill and Call of Duty games. Just you watch. Oh, can't kill me that easily, I guess. Maybe this is the afterlife. I mean, I know in the first game I was, like, embodied with the soul of a demon or a shadow or something, so... Like, dead, you mean? Or... Am I going to spend a lot of time dead? Okay. A little rough on the clipping there with that character design. Definitely just reached through his sword handle and through his gourd thing. I guess? I'd like to read the terms and conditions before I accept whatever it is that we're talking about here, but I guess it's a little late for that. It seems like a nice place. Is it underground? I kind of guessed that. Okay. I feel like if you're performing an honest living, a mask and shadow essence shouldn't be necessary, but maybe that's just me. Sure. Is that a rhetorical question? Kind of not a great existence, but hey, community, I guess. We can all be creepy demon shadow ninjas together, right? Totally expecting the Batman line, I work alone, or something at this point. I mean, the last game, it was basically just mission to mission. There was no, village of happy people. There might have been an ally at one point, maybe, but I definitely very much get the vibe that you're just kind of running around doing ninja murder for the whole game with very little in the way of support. Alright, so I woke up. Freed from the shackles of my mind. Soul brought here to be reborn. So I'm like Neo now. I don't have to dodge the bullets. I feel like that used to be a really current reference, and now it's like 22 years old and they're doing a retro reboot, and I don't know how I feel about that. Akatsuki Tsuchi is laying waste to the lands. That's not good. I assume I'll be fighting them. In their wake, they leave scorched woods, fields of ash, stench of burning bones. Not cool. Alright, so we're fighting evil army of that emperor dude, I assume, with the creepy guys who definitely killed me while I was in a cutscene. Those cheaters. Also beauty. Yep, we want to keep the mountain nice. And cure our curse. Okay. I don't know, that one seems to be tricksy. Yeah, that's... Yep. We'll see in him the horrors of our curse. Alright. Sure, I'll look for the guy who scares the living daylights out of me. That makes a lot of sense. What is this? I'm getting distracted by world geometry. Pay no attention to me. It's a kind of nice valley. It's nestled in this little rock. Like, I feel like we need to have a conversation about what a valley actually is. Like, as a philosopher, like, is this a valley if we're, like, in the heart of a mountain? That seems not exactly what that means. But, you know, whatever. Anyway. Semantic discussions aside. Hello. I'm apparently supposed to talk to you. Well, I mean, not just because I dress like this. I also murdered a whole bunch of people like a ninja. God of Lightning. Okay, cool. Smoke technique. Shuriken flowers. I can't do any of those things. Well, fine. Be that way. Maybe I'll learn those things. That sounds like something, you know, growth, increased skills and stuff. Whee! Alright, now we're supposed to talk to the leader again, who is moved, I guess? Whee! Getting that movement figured out. This looks important. Yep, it's a hub world. Definitely a hub world. Not fooling anyone. Nope, nope. Yes! He was insulting me over my weak ninja skills. I mean, if he wants to teach me shurikens, then he's welcome to lose as much of his mind as he wants. Here's hoping. Really? Okay. Old scroll. Okay. Old techniques of the Shadow Adepts. Yeah, that sounds very promising. Make me awesome. Yep. Alright. Get more powerful. This is something I can get behind. Locations to complete missions. Blueprints to improve equipment. Alright. Very promising. I don't know what the 0 out of 3 is about. Anyway, let's go on a mission, shall we? To the portal! Portal, portal. I'm noticing the little HUD element where it says Murphy Mini not ready up the top right. I am 90% sure there's a co-op element here. There was in the first game. Which co-op stealth is so interesting to me. Like, I played a significant amount of Monaco back in my day, and like the whole co-op elements where like everybody has a separate power, and like that's just a really cool concept to me. Like the sort of asynchronous abilities that are sort of brought about when you do co-op stealth. Because stealth is also such a like typically alone kind of mechanic and video game genre. You know, like ever since the original Thief, stealth games have always been kind of deliberately quiet and meditative and alone. Alright, so we got our portal. We're apparently supposed to be eavesdropping on conversations now. No, it's not enough to go around murdering people, but now, I don't know what that is. That does not look good. Whoop, up we go. That guy's not bothering anyone. Alright, there's that conversation. Let's hop over here. Press E to eavesdrop. That makes sense. Get the Shadow Technique scroll. Alright, we're going to have to be careful about how this is going to fly. There are many ways that my position is very compromising. Alright, so I can Shadow Leap. Alright, we're just going to take this guy out. Hey, gold. And it's glowing. Yeah, I can actually get that. Haha! 3 gold! I'm rich! But remember, the ninja never fights for personal wealth. Alright, I still have a lot of questions about like what I can actually accomplish from here, because this is kind of a trap in its own right. Alright, let's go this way instead. No, you see nothing! Nothing! That's right. I know that this is kind of a weird detail, but the fact that it's dusk is really throwing me right now. Like, the shadows are significantly less numerous because there's light. Like, the entire first game was all, I believe, conducted in the space of one night. Like, as ninja, you were not able to spend time in light. Like, it loses your health or stamina or all the above. Oh, my fancy shadow vision apparently illuminates gold pouches, I guess? Interesting. Let's move you somewhere slightly less incriminating. But not throwing people into the water this time. Alright, I definitely saw another gold pouch. There it is. Aha! Now I have 9 gold! Which I will give back to the village for the sake of whatever worthy noble cause. Freeing ourselves from the curse, I believe, was the plan. That sounds reasonable. Is that a ladder? No. No, it is not. Some kind of mechanism. I mean, that looks like an elevator, right? Also, I'm digging the music right now. I don't know if you can hear it. I know that the sound translation from game to life has been a little dodgy, or game to video. Alright, you, sir, I am going to knock you out, but I need you to, like, turn around and walk away first. Thank you. And now let's take care of this. Okay. So, a little more up. Ninja relies on height for his advantage. Okay, this is going to be a compromising position. Okay, now we are hidden. Let's wait for him to get in a place where I can easily dispatch him. I'm also still concerned about those little blue doodads. I don't know what the deal is with them. They make me very uncomfortable. Did you like that? Jump, and then dash, and then take out. Yeah. I liked it. It felt good. Any more gold around here? Alright, there's some there, but that guy is kind of awkwardly close. Not that it matters when I can dash places. Nope, nobody here. Pay no attention. Oops. Your friend! Disappear. Okay, but seriously, I'm very curious about these things. What do they do? I think it's just light. Like, it's not gonna, like, magically kill me or something. Oh my, look at all these people. It's very awkward. Alright. So we got... This is apparently like Grand Central Station over here, so let's instead stick to the outskirts. Alright, anyone patrol... I don't see any patrol routes that come this way besides the guy who I've just taken care of, so... More gold for me! Okay, so we've got... Good grief. Look at all those dudes. There's a chest. Chests probably contain even more gold than little pouches. But how much you want to bet that it's going to be riskier trying to get it? Alright. We've also got a marker here. Is that where the scroll is? Yes, apparently it is. Yeah, but these guys are like really watching. Whoop. Don't mind me. And another one down. And the weeds. I will take that. 12 gold! What?! Oh my. Oops. Hi! I'll take this guy with me. Alright, only 2 dudes left in this area. Mr. I'm gonna just stand here very confident in my own abilities. And Mr. I'm gonna wander back and forth in front of this guy who's staring at people. That's fine. Pretty sure I don't need to actually interact with either of you at this point. I'm just gonna take all your swag and skedaddle. Alright, so... Okay, did you see that? How I was standing in the torch and everything went kind of sad and grumpy, and then I wasn't able to use my shadow powers? Apparently I recover stamina in darkness. That's how it works here. Alright, so here's the question. Now that I've got the thing, all I need to do is escape. I could do that. Or I could wander around and see what else is out here. Whoop, nope, nope. I beg your pardon, sir. Yeah, turn around. Do it! Turn around. Walk away. Just go up here and see, that's what I love about this game. Like, on the one hand, it's stealth, and it's good stealth. It's well designed. The mechanics are very easy and transparent. On the other hand, it's so quick. So beautifully quick. No? No one? Alright, we've apparently reached the other end of the elevator. More of these shrines. Keep making me think they're important for things. Just watch, they're gonna make me, like, come back here and do stuff later. 13 gold. Maybe that's what I should be doing. Just like stockpiling all the money I find for my nefarious ends. Interesting, interesting. Alright, so we are in fact at the top of the elevator now. I feel like I should be able to manipulate the controls or something. Like they've worked so hard to make this a thing, but apparently not implemented any mechanism by which we could, you know, interact with it. At least not yet. Again, I'm getting very strong vibes that we're going to be revisiting levels, if only because, like, the map seemed fairly small, and like, I know that there are supposedly more characters, which I wouldn't be surprised if it's, like, different power sets and stuff. And in general, this was a much quicker level than I would have expected, to be perfectly honest. Like, I remember some of the levels in the first one were just, like, long. Which, you know, I played through the whole game, so some of those were probably way later in the game than this one is, but even so, this seems pretty brief by comparison. What is our time over there, Kuchikopi / Unicorn team up? 9 unconscious hostile. Oh yeah, S rank. And I apparently get the Spirit Award. Never detected, no hostiles killed. Yep, and there's also the Oni Award for killing everybody. You know, if you're into that. Yeah, Ghost, Spirit, Demon. I think the Ghost Award is if, like, you never interact with anyone, which is primarily the never detected thing, but it's like one thing to never get detected and you're also knocking people out. It's another thing to be never detected and you never touch anyone. But it awards you for all three of them. Like, it's a really interesting sort of mechanic and approach to it. Because it's kind of always the award in stealth games. Like, are you perfect and nobody even knows that you're there? Are you, you know, do you successfully never have to kill anyone because that's usually sort of frowned upon? Or do you do all of the killing? Alright, crazy lightning god guy. What do you got for me? And the exclamation point. There we go. New techniques! Teach me! I mean, well, that's one way to move from place to place. It is sneakily a good way of not having to do animations for the characters, though. Kudos, game developer, for figuring out a couple of clever ways out. Okay, you remember your name is Zuao. I already knew that. Fast as lightning, I guess? I mean, stealth is more important to me, but whatever. Sure. Ancient abilities of the Shadow Clans. Ability points, passive abilities, shadow powers. And then we get the little menu wheel thing again, which I remember. That's a thing. Oh, look at this. Classic tree nonsense. Okay, so we get Whisper now, apparently. So we can attract enemies to position this way. Also, something's going on there, I guess. Okay. So we've got Whisper. I guess we don't have any more vitality potions. Or I've lost track of them. Anyway, there's apparently another mission. So we're just blowing through them. The first hour featuring rushing through all of the missions. Actually, I feel like I should... I don't think I can actually target any of these guys, but... A Whisper! And now you will come to me. Apparently they don't interact that way. That's fine. That's fine. Grieve. S-rated. It's curious. It's like redded out for various reasons. Oh well. Let's go secure us some supplies. With whatever time is remaining. I think we've only got 15 minutes, so this is probably not going to... Either we're just going to complete it or we're not going to complete it. That's fine. Thanks, the dream team of Kuchikopi and Rainbow Pegasus. Alright, finally, it's night again. Always feel more comfortable at night. Before stealing. Interesting. Tries to dissolve objects will alert enemies in the area. Okay, so we're apparently stealing stuff, I guess? But dissolving objects with shadow sounds like something I definitely am not able to do. What is... Oh, okay. Apparently if I steal these supplies, then it will dissolve and everybody will lose their minds. Okay. In that case, we'll just deal with you first. Okay, anyone else close enough that I should be concerned? That guy looks a little close, but not very much. That's fine. Why risk it? Just take him out as an added precaution. Since we may be going for, you know, no vision, but I am in fact okay knocking people out. Alright, now I should... Oh, did we just get 12 gold from a bag? Are we exponentially ramping up the swag I pick up? And poof! Very good. Ready for good vantage points. Alright, we got dudes just all over the place here. That guy, dude over there. Ooh! He's some kind of fire mage guy. Look at that, he's got like fire hands. Probably don't want anything to do with that nonsense. Alright, now we got that guy and the guy over there. Oop, and there's another thing that we're supposed to grab. More supplies. Okay. It's going to be all about timing with these, I suspect. Okay. No way are we going to be able to carry him back up the slope. I guess we'll just drop you here and hope nobody notices. And wait for this dude to come back around and take advantage of him. And I could whisper, but that would probably require me to, like, get out of the way really fast. Turn around, do it. Thank you. And we'll just move you right along. With your friend. Okay. Alright, that fire guy makes me nervous. I suspect he should be our next target. Right up there. You can just think about what you've done. Think about your life choices, man. Alright, so we got that guy. I think there's one more who's... Oh, there are two on the bridge. And up and away. Okay. All going according to plan so far. Just gotta worry about these bridge dudes. This looks like a job for stupid ledge tricks. Or not. Don't mind me. I know, I left the body there, and that's not good. I got a plan. Well, that was a bad plan, apparently. This is not a good situation. Did, however, put them in much more... Alright, if we can just get the guy on the bridge to turn around while this guy's exploring, I could totally take advantage of the situation. There we go. Ask and ye shall receive. Just gotta stay behind him. No, don't run! Darn it. Alright, that guy's just about to turn around, or I would just dispatch him right here and now. And thanks. Okay, let's move this guy along. Because, you know, we don't have enough bodies over here right now. I whispered. That was not terribly helpful, though. Well, fine then. Are they like powwowing around that thing? Whatever. Come on. Clock is ticking, man. It's called the first hour, not the first 2 hours. And thank you. And just to be safe, chuck you in a convenient pile of weeds. And we'll just abscond with this grain. Okay. 2 down. Still got a guy there. And all sorts of stuff over there, I assume. But I have a plan for this. This looked like a much better avenue of approach. I mean, I thought it would be. Yep, it is. Alright. Well-lighted room. Don't like that. So we got guard there, that guy. Okay, we got that guy who is... We'll just take care of this one right there. Ooh, and gold. I feel like I've been less vigilant about the gold recently. There's also been less of it. Okay. So many dudes. Ooh, and a chest. Chest is good. Is there literally no one guarding this? 50 gold? It's like more than I made in the entire last mission. Okay, that guy looks like a problem. That guy is just wandering, but he's on a whole different floor than me, so I guess he won't be as big an issue. Okay, the other guard is definitely facing the wrong direction. Still not entirely sure where this next actual grain sack is, though. Okay, this is not someplace I need to be. I got very aggressive about it. Let's try this again. See if I can whisper him into a trap. Or if this will end horribly for me. Nope, it worked. Very good. Okay. Another couple of unsuspecting chuckleheads taken out. Not seeing anyone around here, though. Makes me very suspicious. Be happy to take that gold, though. Is the sun coming up? This does not seem like the sort of game where a real-time mechanic would be helpful as far as that's concerned. That's going to make things way more difficult if that's what's happening. Or is this like pre-programmed? That's interesting. So apparently they don't want me to go in there. Or at least it's a walled off or something? Huh. That too. Alright, well where the heck am I supposed to go? Did I miss, like, the pile of grain? Oh, this is going to get real awkward. Alright, that kind of worked out. Just dump you over here. Okay, there's a large concentration of dudes over here, but I still don't see the grain. I think that was that well-lit room that I was not excited about. I wonder if they're really going to make me go in there. Now we've got Mr. Fireball Hands causing trouble. Oh! End it low. Alright, let's recap. So I know that this is getting to be a bit of a habit with me. I think it really has to do with the fact that all of the releases are happening these past few weeks. But yes, Aragami 2 is our third out of the last four the first hour episodes that are basically a big release title in a franchise that I'm relatively familiar with by a relatively small studio. Like, I realize that we're kind of doing the sequel thing, and have been for a while here. Hopefully that will calm down in the future, assuming that, like, Daniel Mullins doesn't release Inscription in, like, the next week or so. But I did see that Aragami 2 was coming out. I did, in fact, pre-order it, because I really liked the first one, and it was surprisingly reasonable. Like, it was a $30 game. Like that. You saw that, right? $30 game. Yes, go buy it. It's well worth it. But yeah, I was excited about it. I wanted to do the first hour about it. I wanted to keep, trying to do current games as current when I could. So we decided to do Aragami 2 today. But honestly, like, I don't have a whole heck of a lot to say about the sequel. Like, Psychonauts 2, I was just glowing with praise about the way that it was, adapting the original mechanics and the original gameplay of the first game, but then I was kind of critical because it didn't quite have all the creativity of the first game on display. Myst, I was obviously quite grumpy about because, technology problems and their VR sort of agenda, which I wasn't part of. Aragami 2 is just a sequel, like a straight up, no, frills, just more of the first game, and hopefully with some more variety and some more powers and stuff like that. If there is a whole lot of new stuff coming in, it's not something I saw in the hour that we played. So on that front, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of to talk about. But on the same token, I do have a lot of thoughts, not so much about this game in particular, but about my relationship to the stealth genre as a whole. But that's probably a discussion better reserved for a little later, once we get to question 2 and talking about what we're learning from things. So question 1, what was good and what was bad? Honestly, like, the gameplay is tighter than ever. Aragami was amazing because the gameplay was so freaking tight. Like, that whole shadow teleporting mechanic is just gorgeously implemented. The stealth, where you kind of go dark with the outline, is just gorgeous. Like, it's both, attractive from an aesthetic standpoint, but also incredibly functional. Like, it takes a lot of the best elements from the best stealth games I've ever played and just puts them all together and turns it into this incredibly streamlined, gorgeous experience that's just, like, it's AAA quality for an indie budget, and I can't say enough nice things about either the first game or this new one. Like, it just felt awesome doing that whole double jump into a dash into a stealth kill from above sort of thing. Like, oh my gosh. And there's just, like, the level design was very intuitive. If anything, the only criticism I would have had on that front was that it might have been a little easy, but it's the first hour of the game. It's kind of hard to get critical about it. I remember the later levels in the first Aragami being much more difficult without ever being really aggressively challenging, if that makes sense. Like, it was always possible, if inelegant sometimes. So, like, from the gameplay front, from the, I bought the sequel expecting more of the game, I am delighted. I am absolutely happy with this purchase. I am absolutely psyched to play more. Like, again, spoiler alert, yes, I totally intend to play more Aragami 2. But I also want to say, like, not to nitpick, but, we are looking for criticism, and we will nitpick if necessary. I'm not sure I'm bored with the hub world. Like, the first game was a fever dream in its pacing and its sort of development. Like, just, you start in these early levels and you're just blowing through level after level, getting more and more tense, getting more and more, like, difficult as the game goes on. Like, the whole thing takes place in the course of a night, and it's paced so well to sort of execute that, building, it's like when you have, a really good movie that you really enjoy because it's really fast-paced and really tight, and then the sequel comes out and you're like, oh, this is a little bloated. Like, it's doing a little bit more world building because now it's a franchise. It's doing a little bit more, futzing around because, the stakes are different. Perhaps bigger, but, the pacing is now a completely different experience. Aragami 2 felt like that. It's kind of hard to say that the hub world is a bad thing, especially because I'm strongly getting the sense that you will be encouraged to replay some of the environments and some of the levels, which is a really smart game design choice. Like, why would you, why not reuse the same levels that you've got for multiple occasions, if that makes sense? It's a little cheap from the perspective of, like, oh, I was just getting new level after new level in the first game, and now we're reusing things. Now we're retreading some old ground. But at the same time, I'm hesitant to make a judgment because, we didn't see that. It's just a matter of the pacing for me at this point. Like, the first game was so rapid fire, so tight. Like, it was just this gorgeous experience. This, the ups and the downs are a little bit more pronounced here. Like, you're going from this really tense, power fantasy stealth thing where you're just dropping on guards and doing all the fancy ninja tricks, and then it's like, okay, and now futz around for 5 minutes while you wait for the next level to, be available and do some plot stuff, I guess. Like, I know that Aragami has been leaning into the plot stuff lately. They apparently have a single-player plot-driven game that I did not get or play. Oh well. I don't think that's necessarily a smart move, honestly. Like, I like the world of Aragami. I like the suggestions of the sort of metaphysics and the dark forces that are informing this world. I think, like The Force and The Empire Strikes Back, you spend too much time with it and it will get old. It's more interesting as this suggestion, as these hints. But again, we're doing a sequel now. This is a franchise. It's going to need to be explained. So again, I can understand it. It just detracts from the experience a bit, I suspect. Like I said, this is not a deal breaker for me, not by any extent of the imagination. This is just nitpicking at best. Um, I'm just saying, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is the best direction, and I am eager to see what the game does with it. Like, you can definitely sell me on this if you've got a purpose behind it. Obviously, having only played the first hour, we can't say for sure at this point. But that brings us to our second question: what do we learn? And this is honestly where I wanted to talk about my own personal relationship to this genre, to these stealth games. Because, on the one hand, there's some stealth games that I've really, really enjoyed, like that I really get into, that I find incredibly immersive. And when stealth is done in that particular way for me, it's often more engaging than almost any other genre that I've encountered. But on the other hand, there are also all of these stealth games that I have gotten very deeply into and then just couldn't get through. And it is perhaps the most frustrating genre that I've ever encountered. And Aragami to me is the perfect example of the kind of stealth game that I really, really like. And I want to sort of poke at myself here, like investigate my own experience, look at my own reactions, and try and gauge exactly what it is about Aragami that works so well for me when so many other stealth games do not make that. Um, and I literally had recorded like a 20-minute me rambling endlessly about this subject and then just deleted it all because I didn't think it was terribly helpful or, terribly insightful. And then I just started making spreadsheets, like, because this is how I solve problems, apparently. Um, I've been thinking a lot about just the kinds of reactions that people have to stealth games, or at least the kinds of reactions that I have had to stealth games. Like Mark Brown did a whole mini series not too long ago, The School of Stealth, where he's very much examining the fundamental basic mechanics that make up stealth games. And that's a great series. It's incredibly informative. I definitely watched through it again while I was sort of thinking about this subject matter, and I'd highly recommend you look at it. But if there's anything that Mark Brown overlooks in that series, it's the big picture stuff. Like, he gets the trees, but not the forest necessarily. And I think honestly, because stealth games are so diverse, because there are so many different mechanics that are taking place here, and the game itself can feel so many different ways, that it's probably helpful for us to sort of look at it not as one genre defined by this evasive, stealthy mechanic, but instead, to look at the different ways that stealth gameplay is managed, how it comes across. Because it does come across as different things in different circumstances. And at the end of the day, I ended up with, unfortunately, too many, but 5 categories of what I consider sort of the paradigmatic types of stealth games. And that's not terribly comprehensive or terribly rigorous, just sort of as I was trying to place my experiences with these games and my reactions to these games, those were the 5 categories that I came across. And the first category, and the category that I kind of most identify with, is the puzzle game stealth approach. And this is probably at its most obvious in the game Volume by Mike Bethel. Like, that game is so very obviously a puzzle game with stealth mechanics that it sort of has shaped the way that I look at a lot of different stealth games, especially in this sort of smaller budget indie scene. Like, if you reimagine Volume or Stealth Bastard Deluxe or even Gunpoint or even like something like Mark of the Ninja as a puzzle game as much as it is a stealth game, it makes a great deal of sense. you're looking at these games where instead of being presented with the like characteristic experience of stealth games that you think of from the perspective of like Thief the Dark Project or Hitman or like even the stealth sections in big budget AAA titles, oftentimes the stealth there is limited by your knowledge. Like you have to explore an area very, very carefully in order to keep from being detected. Whereas there are, on the other hand, all these games that give you all the information all at once, either because they are giving you like a special vision mode like they do in Batman, or because it's a side scroller and you therefore have access to much more of the nuance of the area, as is the case with Volume or Gunpoint or Mark of the Ninja. In any case, anytime that your fundamental relationship to the information that is at your disposal is that you just know it, you can just look at the screen and see exactly what's going on around you, and the way that you are interacting with the guards and with the stealth mechanics is not one of like tentatively moving through a space, worried that at any moment everything is falling apart, but sort of calculatedly choosing every single action, like waiting specifically for the right moment and knowing that that's the right moment. That's a puzzle game. That is a puzzle stealth game. And that's not to say that like every game falls into only one of these categories. They're obviously porous, but there's like one axis here. The stealth game as puzzle game. And I tend to respond fairly well to that. I think Aragami is actually doing a lot of puzzle stealth game stuff because it gives you all the information. You've got that fancy vision mode that shows you where all the people are. The question is not, how am I going to navigate this space safely? How cautious do I need to be? So much as, all right, here are the guards, here are their positions, these are the various points that I can interact with. How do I best navigate this puzzle? How do I best deal with this encounter? Now, the second kind of stealth game that I very much identify with and connect to and frequently think is like one of my favorite types is the immersive stealth game, which I'm definitely riffing off the immersive sim title here, because there's nothing necessarily terribly immersive about it. It's about the mechanics. Here it really is just there are a bunch of different mechanics, they all interact with each other, and you're using these mechanics against the game in order to sort of make your way through the area. And by this, I definitely mean stuff like Thief the Dark Project or Deus Ex, where you have like, here are a bunch of guards. You can't see 100% of the space around you, but you have a whole bunch of tools at your disposal that you can use to manipulate the environment, to manipulate the guards, to interact with those systems and turn the situation to your advantage, even if you are on the run, even if you are detected. So by immersive games, I have in mind, Deus Ex, Thief the Dark Project, even like Elder Scrolls games to some degree. Also, Heat Signature, which is a game that I did kind of bounce off of. We'll get to that. But these immersive games, usually, if they are giving you a significant amount of power or a significant amount of tools at your disposal or other options for, if in fact you are detected, I tend to interact well with them. I tend to be okay with them. Some of them are very difficult, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, I find it frustrating. I feel equipped to handle the situation in front of me, whether it's Dishonored with my ability to teleport or my ability to fight my way out of a situation if it turns bad, or with Deus Ex and my alternate route approach. There's tools at my disposal that allow me to get out of a tricky situation. Now, the next obvious category is this action stealth game. Like any game that includes a forced stealth section that will devolve into a combat section that, the combat is just as much a part of the game as the stealth. Anytime that happens, I can hit or miss on a lot of these games. Like I never quite figured out the appeal of the Uncharted games, at least the early ones. Because, it was more fun to me to be doing all the action stuff than it was to be doing the stealth stuff. And if anything, the stealth kind of was a letdown by contrast. But I can totally get behind something like Batman, the Arkham games, because on the one hand, they give you a lot of power for the stealth sections, and they are very self-contained and therefore seem to work more as like a puzzle or an immersive thing. But at the same time, they do give you power enough to get out of a combat situation if in fact that's how it goes. Or I think of something like Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Like there's Obviously, this big emphasis on stealth, and you're very carefully plotting your way around it. You've got tools to deal with the situation, but at the same time, you are ultimately working your way up to a fight. All of this is good, in my opinion, as long as, again, you're sufficiently strong to be able to handle the fight when it comes about. Like, if in fact you are run off, that can be interesting and engaging in its own right if that's in fact what you're working towards. Like the Assassin's Creed games are really good at making running away from guards an entertaining and engaging experience. But you got to be tricky, and that's the key here. So with this in mind, I want to sort of bring up a second related category. Like with the action comes the evasion stealth game, like a stealth game where getting out of a tricky situation is something that is very much emphasized as much as all of the other stuff going on here. So, like, yes, you are supposed to be stealthy and you're supposed to stay stealthy as much as possible, but once you have been detected or revealed, you have the option of getting away somehow. And like I said, Assassin's Creed is really good at this. Another example is Sir You Were Being Hunted is really good at this. Like, it's very much doing the whole survival stealth thing, where, there's just these big open spaces, so if you can just break line of sight or use distractions, then even if you have been detected, you've got a chance to get out of the situation. But this is where things get a little trickier for me, because in a lot of these sort of evasion-based stealth games, if it is too difficult, if it is, not likely to succeed, or if there are punishments for this being the case, the engagement for me kind of loses something, I suspect. But again, the whole category is not necessarily lining up with what it is that I do and do not sort of connect to in these cases. So I do want to talk about a fifth category, and this one is especially tricky. If our basic four categories are the puzzle game, the immersive sim, the action stealth, where combat is a huge part of it, and the evasion stealth, where escape is a huge part of it. The last category I want to talk about is stealth games that incorporate some kind of overarching resource management mechanic, and this is where things get tricky for me. There are quite a few stealth games, as I was going through my library, sort of reminiscing about some of the experiences that I've had. There are quite a few stealth games where, as much as there are, it's focused around instances or specific level design or whatever, there is a counter or a resource or a timer or something else that links all of your escapades together. And you need to achieve certain things by a certain time, or your progress in one mission may be dependent on how you performed in another mission. This can be as light as the fact that all the stuff that you steal and thief is then used to pay for your various thieving equipment in future levels, or it can be as heavy-handed as something like, you've only got 3 days in Invisible Ink, and you only have a limited number of missions that you can do, and therefore you have to, make sure that each one counts. This is what I would call a risk-reward stealth game. There are actual punishments in play for you and your character depending on your performance from level to level. And this is where I usually get frustrated. There are some risk-reward stealth games that I really did get into, like Invisible Ink, but also there are a lot of risk-reward stealth games that I've very much bounced off of. I think of This War of Mine, which is all about resource management, but usually does it from, you going stealthily through levels. I could not get through it. It was way too stressful for me. Or I think of Heat Signature. Heat Signature has a lot of really cool mechanics. It's doing the immersive stealth thing with a whole bunch of gadgets that you get to use. But importantly, the gadgets are all limited use in most cases, and if your character dies, you lose all the gadgets and now have to start a new character. Likewise with The Swindle, which is a game that I very much got into and then very much had to fight myself on because I was just getting so frustrated with it. You have a very limited amount of time, and the game inside of the mission forces you to decide when you have gotten all of the swag that you were comfortable getting and when things have gotten too risky, and as a consequence you need to bail. that was a decision I was just not good at making, to be perfectly honest. Like, I, as a gamer, am inclined to perfection. I want to 100% ghost a level, or I want to, 100% get all of the swag that is to be gotten in a Thief game or something. That is just the attitude that I bring to gaming. It is purely subjective, so I recognize that like this is not going to jive with everybody's experiences. But anytime that one of these stealth games has as one of its core mechanics this kind of risk reward thinking, it's just too much for my poor brain to handle. Like, stealth gameplay is really awesome, really immersive, really fun because it is tense, because it keeps you thinking about all of these various factors, keeping track of where all the guards are, trying to, juggle all of these different things that you're thinking about. Adding in every time I use a water arrow, I am, like, I am potentially losing the ability to use it in the future. That's rough for me, especially if you don't give me, a quick load mechanic like Thief does, or if you don't have, some kind of failure state that doesn't 100% punish you. Because when the swindle was so punishing, because heat signature was so punishing, I ultimately couldn't make it through those games. And that's what I want to emphasize about Aragami. Aragami is all about the power fantasy. And I realize that's kind of a really superficial thing to say, that like I've really enjoyed power fantasy stealth games while really bouncing off of stealth games that very much emphasize your weakness, or that very much emphasize, the decision-making process that's going in. Like, I bounced off the Hitman franchise largely because you had to devote so much time and energy, even though it's like external to the game's resources, just learning the levels and learning their mechanics, and then getting punished by like immediate failure if you get detected in some heavy duty, like carefully guarded area. All of these things were turnoffs for me. I am a superficial, totally casual stealth gamer. I like my power fantasy. I love what Aragami has to offer here with the whole, swooping down from above and knocking people out. I love having all of the knowledge at my disposal, knowing exactly where all the guards are and being able to plan more like it's a puzzle game than like I'm balancing these limited resources and trying to manage all of my skills very carefully. Um, that's, I suspect, the thing that I connect to here. And what I want to stress is that Aragami knows what it's doing here. It knows it's delivering a power fantasy. It's not hiding any of the stealth mechanics or any of the information at your disposal. You are able to take in the entire situation at a glance, with the possible exception of certain indoor areas, the way the walls work or windows. There is very little information that is not at your disposal, and you are invited to approach each stealth encounter like a puzzle. Using a variety of tools at your disposal, very much emphasizing your sort of command of the situation, which makes sense. You're a ninja. You're supposed to be in charge of the situation. You are awesome, and it's time for you to show off your awesomeness by navigating this space. That isn't to say that the other games that I've bounced off of in the past are bad, nor is it saying that like not feeling strong is necessarily a bad thing. There are quite a few games that I've really enjoyed the stealth mechanics where you are disempowered. Like the Thief games, you very much cannot defend yourself if it comes down to an actual fight. But it's okay because the other mechanics usually buttress that in some way. Like, you're not expected to, like perfectly get through a level. There are, in fact, alternatives for if you've bungled things a little bit, where that's not necessarily the case in something like Hitman. Like, if you are detected in Hitman, you're basically done, and you might as well reload at this point, losing whatever progress you've had. Like, there are occasionally situations where you can like make an area safe and then use that as an ambush point. That's great when you pull it off, but it usually makes the game worse and not better. Hitman is at its absolute best when you have learned things so thoroughly that you are just perfecting your way through it, and you are just muscle memory and level planning your way through the whole situation. Um, it frustrates me because, again, it takes a long time to get that level of proficiency, and I don't feel like I can devote that time to it. It becomes frustrating in that other way. Again, that risk-reward, how much time am I putting into the game, and what am I getting out of it as a consequence? But like I said, there are other games that do the weakness thing that work in my mind. Stealth Bastard gives you virtually no way of fighting back once you're detected, but it gives you the ability to know exactly why you're being detected, make it very clear, and as a result is doing the puzzle thing, and I'm down for it. But this is what I want to emphasize. Aragami knows what it's trying to deliver. It knows it's delivering a power fantasy. It knows it's not trying to be especially difficult. Or when it is going to be especially difficult, it's going to make it very much your fault when you screw up. It's not going to be, you're wandering into an unknown space. No, you will see what is going on ahead of you. You will be able to assess and make careful decisions as a consequence. The decision-making isn't how am I balancing my careful list of resources, how can I best do this situation, what am I willing to lose in this situation, but rather let's take it on an encounter-by-encounter basis. How am I going to deal with this set of guards, this specific obstacle, this specific objective? And I think it does it really well. So if there's a takeaway here, it is be deliberate in your design. Do not, like if you were going for a power fantasy, don't include a bunch of, mechanics that sort of detract from that. Don't make everything procedurally generated. Don't, give you limited resources to work with. If that's the game you're making, that's fine. I'm not going to enjoy it, and I suspect that there are a lot of people who, enjoy these more casual stealth games who are going to be equally frustrated by it. But that's the key. Know your audience. Know who you are playing for. There is a hardcore Hitman community, and they are awesome people, and I am not one of them. I'm sure that Heat Signature absolutely clicks with a lot of people, and I can absolutely respect the game design philosophy behind it. I wish I had more time, more energy, more focus, more skill to devote to a game like that. But I don't, and as a consequence, I'll stick with my Aragami every time. And so to bring this all to that third question, am I going to play this more? Yes. Like, Aragami is absolutely my jam, and Aragami 2 is absolutely delivering on the same joy that I felt playing the first one. I love the power fantasy thing here. I love the sneaking through the shadows and knowing exactly how to manipulate the situation, or sort of thinking my way through the puzzle of a specific layout or a specific area. I am all about it. So I am definitely going to play more. And that's, again, as much as there is to say about it, I suspect. Like, again, as much as stealth games are this complicated medium, Aragami is not necessarily a complicated game, and Aragami 2 is not doing a lot to shift the formula, at least not in the first hour. So, at any rate, I hope that you've enjoyed this discussion. I hope that you get to think a little bit more about your own interactions with stealth games, or, if you haven't played some, give a couple a try. Aragami is probably a really good place to start. It is considerably more friendly to the neophyte than some of the other games we've talked about today. In the meantime, if you've liked this video, like, share, and subscribe. Check out my website, Professor Kozlowski at WordPress.com, and check out the stuff that we're doing at Video Game Academy. I hope to have another one of these up soon. I hope that you will join us for it. Thank you.